Alright guys, so I'm gonna talk about stands, specifically Dream and K-pop stands, but more of Dream. So I'm sure you guys have watched Dream's video on stands and defending them. So I'm gonna summarize it here. Basically, he says that stands are super passionate, like a very small percentage are actually what we say they are, and we shouldn't disrespect them. Well, yeah, I do agree with that statement. I mean, there are a lot of fans out there that actually like him and don't stalk him to malicious extents. I don't even think I can talk for this long, like 12 minutes. Okay, that's gonna stretch it a bit. So, yeah, I don't really think that we come into contact with actual dream stands without us actually going out of our way to look for them. This is true. But the stand situation, um, K-pop stands are slightly more like, I don't know. I want to say worse because two of my friends are K-pop stands, and I asked them about why they're stands and stuff like that, and I've gotten the answers, and they actually seem pretty reasonable. So, on to K-pop stands. So, according to two of my friends, they defend K-pop stands because apparently, if they face too much scrutiny, they might like suicide and stuff like that. So that's bad. And if what they're saying is true, then they're really good. I admire them for that. But I don't really do much research, so I can't really say if this is actually true. But I'm just gonna take it that it's true because those two people I talked to are really trustworthy people. So yeah, but then like I think that this whole stand thing became an issue because of perception, uh, or like the point of view of some people, because uh, hmm, what was it called? Like Dream says, a very small percentage of his people are actually what we think they are. Like they actually stalk him, they actually do that, and yeah, I think this is the same for K-pop too. I mean, we saw like a few tweets, but that's it, a few. It's like a few hundred or so. There are like millions of K-pop fans, perhaps billions, but that's kind of stretching it. So I don't really know. I don't have a lot of points to bring up, but I think that's why K-pop stands are as overbearing as they are, or at least that's what I've been told. And since that's what I've been told, I think that's what I'm inclined to believe. So yeah. Now on to the dream stance. I mean, it's fine if you're a stan. I don't really care. In fact, I don't think anyone cares as long as you mind your own business. But stans are kind of scrutinized. Like Dream says, he provides proof. This is not something he just says out of left field. Like, oh, stans are being terrorized and don't show anything. He shows like actual screenshots of stans being terrorized. So and he knows what he's doing. He's basically presenting evidence to back up his claim that people are terrorizing his stance, and as long as they're not very like they don't try to force you to like the group, and they don't really do anything, they don't set any threats. I think we should just leave them alone. But because like we're kind of generalizing people here. I mean, yeah, of course we're generalizing a giant crowd based off a few people. And like June says, one person does something bad, and like the entire internet thinks that the whole group is bad. So yeah, I don't think we should judge the entire group because of just one bad apple. So yeah, that would be my take on the situation. But I think I have a few more things to say. I don't really know. I could just end it right here. Yeah, I don't really can't really say I'm for anything from the perspective of a stan because I have never admired anyone in my life to the point where I became a stan. Sure, I've admired people like Dan TDM and Tommy in it, but that's really it. I've just admired them, just like a normal fan. Nothing too flashy there. So, uh, can't really speak for what's going through their heads. And even if I did stand somebody, I can't really. Nobody's experience is the same. Everyone's unique in some way. Yada yada yada. So yeah, overall, I'd say the stan community is pretty good, but then it has a negative outlook because of the amount, because of like a few bad apples. So yeah, and Dream basically was like, oh, don't generalize everyone. And I really understand his point of view, I really do. But it's kind of been like a mini tradition to hate on stans since like I think I first recalled 2017 because 2017 is the first time I encountered a K-pop stan, and it wasn't like the nice kind of K-pop stan. It was actually like the overexerted one. You know, the ones you don't want to have an encounter with. And I'm gonna tell you that story. I used to live in Singapore. I live in Australia now, but in Singapore, I think Singapore is one of the most K-pop prevalent countries because I see Instagram stories of my friends with like Coca-Cola bottles with K-pop idols on them, like buses with K-pop idols on them. So yeah, that's a pretty big deal over there. And then in year 5 or P5 or grade 5, I transferred schools. But I was still living in Singapore, so I wasn't really losing out on anything. And I moved from a school that didn't really have a solid idea of what K-pop was to a school that was ravaged by K-pop. I would say ravaged in a negative light, but like a lot of people knew what it was, and a lot of people were studying them. Specifically, girls. I think there were like one or two boy stands, and like so many female stands. So yeah, I'm just like, so I'm asking about this. So I'm asking about K-pop. And one of them, and then I asked, is it really that good? And then this girl just starts screaming in my face. And I don't know why she starts screaming in my face. I figure she's a mature person, or she's just really like extroverted. But I just chalked it down to having a bad day. And yeah, she just kept yelling at me. And I was like, what the hell are the fans? I wasn't a very mature person back then. I'm not nearly as mature as I am now. So I can't really speak on behalf of everything I said and did then. So, and I did some bad stuff. I'm gonna say that. So, yeah, I'll say that much. That's my first encounter with the actual stan or a super fan or a stalker fan or whatever you call it. I'm surprised how preemptively my city is getting ready to prepare for Christmas because I went to the town where it's my birthday today, so yeah, it's good. But I went to the town and then there's like Christmas decorations everywhere, and keep in mind this is December the 12th, so we have like 13 days. I mean, I know some people do like 25 days of Christmas or something like that, but it's a bit early, don't you think? Just a bit early to start celebrating. So yeah, I'm just walking through all these Christmas decorations, and like yeah. Speaking of which, my friend broke his arm. He didn't really break his arm. He just fractured the bone in his arm, but it's basically, to us, it's basically the same as breaking his arm. So I mean, it was actually a bit like comical once all the dangerous stuff was out of the way, because he broke his arm around this time last year. So here's what happened according to him. He just fell down and all his weight went to his, which arm was it? The arm that was broken. I can't remember if it was the left or the right arm, but all his weight went there. And then he had difficulty moving it. And then we're in humanities class and we're sitting together, and he's just like, why is it so hard to move it? And I just tell him to suck it up and move it. But then the teacher's like, no, what's going on? Because she's kind of saint. So yeah, she's just like, what's wrong? Do you want to go to the nurse's office? And then so he goes to the nurse's office, and then we're watching a documentary about desert life forms. And like, this is even the most boring documentary. So yeah, we're just sitting, and then he just comes in a cast, and then he just asks us where his books are, and then we give him his books, and then we don't see him for the rest of the week, and then he comes back at Friday, and then like you can see his arms like a cast, like in Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie when Rowley breaks his arm, yeah, that kind of cast. And so everybody proceeds to sign it, and I also signed it. So yeah, I could see how his parents would react when he got home with a bunch of with just like an entirely signed uh cast. But we were basically like joking about how his arm always gets broken at this time of the year, and overall it was really good. And like my life's been really mundane. I don't know. I mean, it's really just the same routine of wake up, eat, do whatever I want, and then sleep. So yeah, and we're approaching my last day of school and my last week of school. Sorry, and according to the teacher, we're going to be watching documentary after documentary after documentary after documentary after documentary after documentary. I tripped over my words. So yeah, I'm kind of I'm really not looking forward to that. I'm going to be honest because this one time in STEM, which stands for science, technology, engineering, mathematics for the uneducated. Um, we were watching this documentary about pollution and recycling, and I'm not kidding. Like half the class fell asleep because it was so damn boring. I mean, I was drawing because I started bringing paper to school as a countermeasure. So, but like, yeah, it wasn't really well received. Even the teacher didn't really care. He was just staring blankly over there. I bet it's just reconsidering his life choices that led him to this place. But yeah, I'm probably gonna check. I'm gonna probably gonna call back in at one point or another. That's really all I have to give to you guys.